This is a review of Lootbox Lyfe Plus. I'm playing the Xbox version here, but it's also available on PC, PS4 and 5, and Nintendo Switch. It's a platformer trying to cleverly disguise itself as a Metroidvania. The Metroidvania elements are so lackluster here, it's hard to consider this as anything other than a generic platformer. You'll take on the role of a blob, searching for loot boxes in order to progress and being told the story throughout diaries and textless cutscenes. I honestly have no idea what the story is, so I'm not even going to try to explain it. There isn't a heavy emphasis put on it, and it didn't seem clear at all to me what was going on. So if you were hoping for a thrilling story, or even one that's slightly amusing, well, just like every other aspect of the game, you're going to be left a bit disappointed. Finishing this game is by far the hardest I've had to push myself on my channel to finish a game so far. Not just because I genuinely didn't enjoy it at all, but also because it's such an absolute button masher that by the time I was done, my wrist was sore. Everything you do in this game requires constant button mashing. You're always climbing up walls, jumping, running, switching forms. Heck, even to open the loot boxes, you have to button mash. Why? Why do I have to do that? What purpose does it serve to mash a button to open a chest? Did somebody think that that was an exhilarating mechanic? I just don't get it. Games with an excessive amount of button presses in rapid succession cause me discomfort. Luckily, the game was on the shorter side because I couldn't take much more by the time I was finished. You will find yourself platforming through several large biomes and most likely meeting your demise time and time again because there's plenty of things that kill you in one hit. Luckily, if you fancy an easier experience, it's heavy on the accessibility options and it has a highly customizable level of difficulty to help ease your pain. You'll acquire new abilities like a double jump, dash, wall climb, etc. But it's completely devoid of any sort of combat system, so the core gameplay is strictly platforming. Couple that with a map that is borderline useless, and a fast travel system that's so sparse in its locations, it's almost as bad as not having one at all. Almost. You'll find yourself backtracking a lot and wandering around as the amount of guidance provided here is non-existent. No. Seriously, there's no guidance at all in this game. Better hope if you decide to play it, you choose the correct way to go. Otherwise, you'll find yourself aimlessly wandering through large environments only to see path after path blocked off by your lack of what's required to progress. But your path isn't immediately blocked. Oh no. You'll have a decent amount of space to travel around before finding your progression blockers. Most Metroidvanias I've played do a decent job at blocking off areas that will require abilities you'll earn later. Here, that's not the case, as outside of the starting area, which is fairly linear, you will soon find yourself in the base area with 3 new paths you can choose from. There's no indicators at all on the map, and although you can turn on hints or purchase hints with your coins, I don't see any helpful indicators by receiving them. Again, I'm not kidding. I did 2 playthroughs to unlock all of the achievements, and using hints made no difference. I didn't see any difference at all. And since I haven't mentioned it yet, there's collectible coins you can acquire to either purchase the hints or new cosmetic headwear from a shop in the base area. You'll find juice syringes as well that allow you to recolor your blob. Another thing I found to be really lame is the game tracks your coins and the juice you collect, which are not important to story progression. The portals that contain the scrolls that you need to collect to beat the game are not tracked anywhere. The only way to find out if you have them all is to try and enter the final area. It's just baffling. I've played my fair share of Metroidvanias, as I've previously mentioned in my videos. It's one of my favorite genres. This is not a good Metroidvania. I've played my fair share of platformers, both 2D and 3D. This is not a good platformer either. The level design feels so sporadic and random, I almost feel like an AI designed its layouts. It made me feel like a rat lost in a maze nearly for the entirety of it. Especially the final sequence of the game. The only sections of the game I got any enjoyment at all out of were the portal sections where your abilities are stripped away except for the new one you just acquired. This puts the focus solely on the new ability, and as such, forces you to prove your mastery before leaving. I wish I had more positives to talk about, but the portal sections are the only shining star in the experience. At least for me. You might like it, but for me. Lootbox Lyfe is a game that often left me confused, frustrated, and annoyed throughout my playthrough. It doesn't do anything new and original that brings any level of fun to the player. And what it does is so generic and vanilla, it just left me wanting to play either a proper platformer that excels as a 2D platformer or a Metroidvania that excels at being strictly a 2D Metroidvania. Lootbox Lyfe fails at its attempt to marry the two genres together, and for that reason, I would not recommend playing this. This was my second outing with a game developed by Conradical Games, with the first of theirs I played being the Outbound Ghost, and unfortunately, it was also my second time being left disappointed. Thank you for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, comment below if you have any questions, and subscribe if you haven't done so already, as I cover a lot of different indie games on my channel. Hope to see you on my next video, but until then, have a good one.